Hi everyone, this is Steven. Welcome to your practice. This little class, I call it anti-hunch because it's to counter, that rounded back posture. Maybe you've been sitting at a desk for a long time, or you have the tendency to round your upper back. This is something that I notice in my body. If I sit too much or I don't watch my posture, then my shoulders start to roll forward, my upper back starts to round, and it just feels terrible all around. So these are my favorite couple of exercises and mobilizations to counter the rounded back. The first one is really simple. You stand with your feet a little bit apart, and I'll show you from the side. And we're just gonna twist to one side, and so wrap the top arm around your top shoulder and the bottom arm around your lower back. And try not to arch your back or round your back. Try to keep it as neutral as possible and just turn around your axis. Try to keep the legs as steady as they can so they screw down into the floor, and then move the belly a little bit back towards the spine and rotate, look as far back behind you, maybe even to the opposite side there. Good. Let's return to neutral. Do the same on the other side. So left arm, in my case, I'm wrapping it over the right shoulder. Right arm wraps around the lower back to that other hip somewhere. And then I'm keeping the legs steady, pressing the feet down, rotating around the axis, pulling the belly a little bit back to stabilize the lower part of the spine. I'm trying to look as far back into that opposite corner as possible. We go once more to each side. So return back to the left, wrap your arms, and turn, maximize the twist. Look back to the other side. Good. And now back to the second side. One last time. Wrap your arms, use your belly, screw the legs into the floor, and back, way back. And then release. A similar one, but where the spine is in a bit of a different position. This is with a hip hinge. So place the feet a little bit wider. Have your hands on the knees. Lengthen the spine forward, like a bit like a flat back in a yoga class. And then we're going to twist. So you can turn your hands wherever they want to. Look over the left shoulder to start with. I like to draw the belly back towards the spine. So I'm not in a rounded or arched position. Then look up over the left shoulder. Try to sit the hips back. Good. Return to center. Change the hands if you need to. We're looking over the right shoulder and twist as much as possible. Get into the upper part of the spine, especially with that twist. Keep the lower back steady. And then back to center. Let's go again to the first side. Twist a little deeper. Can you look more over the shoulder? You might need to lean the head a little bit back so your neck is in line with the rest of the spine. Good. Return to the center. Look over the right shoulder. Twist into it. Twist, 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 twist. Let's feel the whole spine rotate little by little, all these little pieces, creating a nice big twist. One more time to each side. We'll go a little bit more smoothly. Twist to the left and wring it out. Twist to the right. I find you get a really good twist this way, plus the hips are locked into place, which allows the lower back to be more stable. That's a nice one. So now if you're close to the wall, put your left hand on it, about shoulder height, with the fingers facing back behind you. I'm putting a little bit of pressure into the wall here, and I'm just turning my feet away from the wall until I feel a really good stretch here, the front of that left shoulder. And then, of course, the stretch goes into the pec muscles, your shoulders, which are often with a rounded back posture or a desk slouch, which are often rolled a bit forward. So I'm trying to turn away from the wall into the open side, into the room, or the garden in my case. Keep pushing that hand into the wall a bit. That's good. And then release that. Right hand on the wall, about shoulder height, fingers back. Little push with the hand into the wall, and then start to walk the toes away from the wall, turn your hips away from the wall, but keep that pressure of the hand so that your arm is straight and you're getting a good stretch of the front shoulder into the pectoral muscles, the chest muscles. Nice. Another breath or so here. Good. This is a really good one to do as a little work break. There's always a wall or something nearby that you can hold on shore. So do that one regularly. Nice. The next one is a modification of a yoga pose, which I find gets really nicely into that upper back. So sit onto all fours and then take your left arm and thread it underneath the right armpit. Nice. With that right hand, I'm not moving it much. I'm just placing it in front of the face. And I'm using that right hand to push down onto the floor. And I'm trying to roll that right shoulder back. I can also turn the face up towards the sky. Get a little bit more twist into the neck. And then, of course, if the neck moves, the upper back is attached to it. It's just downstream. So it moves with it. Now you've stabilized the hips because of this pose. The lower back is stable, and hopefully you're getting a deep twist in the upper back. Good. Slowly release. I'll show you from the other side. Right hand threads under the left armpit. Slide it far enough so the side of your head can come down. And then left hand, you can't see it, but it's just in front of my face. And then I'm pushing down onto the floor and trying to turn my head up as much as possible, keeping the neck long and getting into the upper back. You'll probably notice one side of twisting feels way more sort of tight and restricted than the other one. I think this is the restricted one for me. I'm finding it a little bit harder to talk and breathe smoothly. So just notice what's the case for you. Good. If it feels good, you can always pause the video and do a little bit more of it. We're going to move on because I want to get to two more poses. The first one, you're kind of there. You just sit back on with the hips onto the heels. You reach the arms forward, and we're just going to walk both hands a bit over to the right side. So you can keep walking until it's good, until you feel a good side bend into the left side body. Try not to move the hips away from the heels if you can. And then sit back with that left hip as you push the left hand down onto the floor of it. It should give you a good side stretch, a good side bend in the spine as well. Good. And then keep everything the same. Just walk your hands to the middle and then over to the right, the left. Push the right hand down. Walk the right fingers a little bit further and then lengthen the right hip back. These are more like internal activations. Nothing much is moving, but you'll feel the difference in the side stretch. You should get under the right arm and all the way down to the right hip with the side body stretch. Good. Slowly release. Walk the hands back to center. Let's stand up because now we're going to put it all together and try to integrate these stretches, these twisted side bends with a little bit of movement. Nice. All we're going to do, place the feet hip distance. Hook your thumbs together and then lift all the way up and try not to arch your back. Sometimes if you don't watch out, the lower ribs are popping out and you're doing this massive spinal movement rather than shoulder movement. The shoulder movement requires an openness in the upper back. So it's a good test to see if you got a little bit more space. And then push the hands away. Be quite strong as you do this and you come back to center. Switch which thumb is on top. Easier said than done, if you remember. We'll go all the way up, stretch the upper back at the top, and then reach the arms. Nice. We'll do quite a few of these, just to try imprint good movement patterns into our body. And this is a nice energizing movement. Every time you go up, you choose another thumb on top. Might take you a little bit of practice. That's good. Yoga is not just some movements. It's also a bit of brain gym. It's focus, it's balance, and it's working from the inside out. Nice. Keep going. Stretch up. Try not to arch your back. Do your best to avoid any compensations and try to feel these movements in your upper back. How about 4 more? Keep going. Inhales, you can lift your arms. Exhales, you can lower down. Keep your legs grounded, keep the feet planted on the earth. And last 2. Hopefully your shoulders getting a workout. And you're linking the breath to the movements. Good. Release, shake it out, roll the shoulders, feel your upper back. Hopefully you feel nice and loose. This is a great little work break, or after a busy day, try to do a couple of these movements and let me know how it goes. Thanks for joining and thanks for practicing. See you soon.